Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodia. I'd like to welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Marvel versus DC, or DC versus Marvel, issue number 2. And I remember where I got the specific issue way back in 1996. I was living in Argentina, but I had traveled to the United States, reached the Miami airport. I saw this issue. I had no idea this was going to take place, this crossover, because comic book news would take forever to reach my country. And I was really pumped. I saw my favorite Marvel characters battling it out against DC characters. And like back then, this was like my first crossover between two comic book editorials. So I had no idea, like, the stories aren't the best, stuff like that. But the big draw was to see how my characters would fight against the competition. Even though and even back then I did like the DC characters, even though I didn't read DC comic books. I knew about most of their origins, their powers, and stuff like that. Even though I have a very special place in my heart for Batman, because I love the Batman animated series. So, the writers to the story is a collaboration between Peter David and Ron Marz, art by Claudio Castellini and Dan Jurgens. And the basic premise to the story is that two space gods that are like celestials. Instead of battling it out between themselves, because they're going to destroy all of reality, the multiverse, they choose a group of champions, because God knows why they have problems and why they're fighting. But they choose a group of champions that go into a contest of champions type of situation and fight it out for them. And one probably gets to keep his reality and the other one's just wiped away or something like that. But who cares? Because we just want to see characters from Marvel fighting against DC. And immediately we have this brief little tussle between Killer Croc and Wolverine, because both of these universes are sort of folding into each other. And so characters from both sides are having encounters. Most of them are battles, but as we saw in the previous issue, some of them are actually becoming allies, working together, or becoming friends and stuff like that. Here also, this was the first time I ever saw Darkseid in any story. And we have Cap fighting against Bane. This particular page is pretty awesome. Like this is pretty cool how Cap is able to defeat Bane, because this pose that cover, because even though I don't read DC, I knew about the whole thing of Bane breaking Batman's back. So this was so cool to see. We have Gambit having a brief little tussle with Nightwing. This is actually the first time I ever saw Nightwing in any story. Gambit and Wolverine stealing the Batmobile. That was pretty hilarious. Here we have the two space gods, where they show that they're going to choose their respective group of champions and where each characters are going to battle. And actually the first battle to this crossover is Thor versus Shazam. Again, another character I've never seen before up until that moment. I wasn't familiar with Shazam's basic power set, so I didn't know how he stacked up against Thor. And this particular incarnation of Thor, I think he was sort of downgraded during this time. His powers were not on the best situation for Thor. So we have body armor Thor that looks so weird. So we have an epic battle between both of his characters. Thor is able to come out on top, but he loses Mjolnir and actually falls into the hands of Wonder Woman. And years old back then. So this was my first big crossover between comic book companies, so that was like sort of really new for me. And this was actually the first time I ever saw another character lift up Thor's hammer that wasn't Thor. So I thought to myself, oh, whoa, Wonder Woman, she's this elevated Wonder Woman for me. The words, she was worthy to pick up his hammer. Namor versus Aquaman. Personally, going back and seeing this issue, I really feel like Namor should have won. I know that Aquaman can talk to sea life and stuff like that, but Namor's no slouch. Like, he can go toe-to-toe against Hulk. And he ends up losing this battle, being squashed by a killer whale. That shouldn't take him down, but I'm just nitpicking here. Even though back then I knew Quicksilver didn't stand a chance against Flash, I knew Flash was insanely powerful. And like, I know Quicksilver's more known. They should have used the Eternal Makari to go up against Quicksilver, Flash, because at least I think he runs a lot faster than Quicksilver does. So when I saw this, I knew Quicksilver was going to lose, and I thought this was a travesty that Aquaman was able to defeat Namor, especially squashing him with the killer whale. So here we see Wonder Woman with the hammer, with Mjolnir. We get the end of the issue. DC's on top with 2. Marvel has only one victory. And it's super cool to see these character sheets at the end, basic description of the characters as we saw in the previous video I did on the subject. So you knew how both of these characters stacked up against each other and learned a little bit more about these characters. So you can sort of get an idea in which way these battles would go. Versus Elektra, that's going to go down in the next issue. Silver Surfer versus Green Lantern, and Namor versus Aquaman. So I'm going to leave this video here. Hope you guys liked it. Get your hands on this crossover. It was pretty good. Like, as I said before, it was a really weird and awkward affair, but you saw a lot of crazy stuff go down. And then we get the All Access series that came after this, and the Amalgam universe. That was actually, there's some pretty good Amalgam issues. There was a bunch of one-shots with characters that were fused together. So I'm going to leave this video here. Hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.